What's going on, guys? It's Adam P, and welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. Second upload of the day. Of course, earlier we were at the training ground to witness the medical of Malik Chow, so make sure to go and check out that video if you haven't done so already, because we dedicate that video towards our brand new signing, and currently it's still the only place anywhere on social media where you can see footage of Malik Chow being with Newcastle United. So make sure to check it out when you have a chance to do so. Now, I wanted to quickly make an announcement before we get into today's video. So I will be running in the Great North Run, and I'm fundraising as well. And not to give out a sub story, because I know you are all here for the Newcastle United transfer news, but on a personal level, I am running for the British Heart Foundation. And the reason why I'm doing that is because before I was born, my grandmother basically had a heart attack. So to try and go into detail about it, she needed emergency care to save her life. Now, because of the technology and the resources we have, they were able to save her back then, and she's still alive today. So if that was unsuccessful, I would have never met her, would have never had those memories throughout my childhood with my grandparents. So for me, it's a good opportunity now to be able to, of course, run for a great cause. And I imagine for a lot of you on a personal level, cardiac arrest, heart attacks, is something unfortunate that we all are aware of, and something that we all have to most likely see or witness at some point in our lifetime. So if you guys do have any spare change and you'd like to make a donation to the fundraising page, pin comment, and also the link down below will have the page there. Content will be out from the Great North Run, of course, on the day itself. Now, going back on topic to Newcastle United, if you guys are new around here, make sure to join the journey, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It's free to do so, and of course, keeps you updated and when Newcastle United content comes out, because it is non-stop at the minute. A lot of positive transfer news to get into today, so make sure you are part of the community so you don't miss out on any upcoming news. And starting off, we will take you back to yesterday's video, because I mentioned at the time Lucas Paqueta would join Newcastle United if we wanted to sign him this summer. And I say if because Keith Downey within the last hour has now said that Newcastle United currently has not approached West Ham to sign Paqueta, currently is not interested in bringing Paqueta in this summer. And the question you guys may ask is why? And I think the obvious answer is the fee. I don't know exactly how much Lucas Paqueta would cost, but you would imagine. I've seen social media pages claim it's £30 million. I just don't believe that. I don't believe we would get him for £30 million. I would imagine it's going to cost a lot more money. And one of the problems Newcastle's had throughout the summer when it comes to signing players is agreeing a transfer fee with a football club. We haven't been able to do it, and even going in to get a player, to be able to secure Paqueta, let's say we went in now with a bid and we're trying to sort her out West Ham, it would drag on for at least a week, and we just don't have that kind of time anymore in this window. So when you look now at the example that's been given, BILAS, Leicester City midfielder, who, by the way, has a £22.5 million release clause. Release clause, just to explain that, if you activate that, the player is yours, unless you are dealing with Nottingham Forest, then you might have a different situation there. But the point of a release clause, if you pay the money of that release clause, you get the player. And that would save Newcastle a lot of time while being a player. When you look at his individual stats, I mean, 69% long passing success rate, 80% short passing success rate in the Premier League last season, with a good amount of duels. And I'll show you more individual stats, because he's not really a player that scores and assists a lot, but certainly seems to be a progressive player. Again, you've got to remind yourselves, this is a Sean Longstaff replacement. So when you look at the option here, is he more progressive and is he a more expansive player than Longstaff? You would have to say yes. And he's not a player I've watched loads of at Leicester City last year, but certainly seems to be one of the bright sparks among just a pile of turd, to be honest. The Leicester were awful last season. So when you look at a player like this, £22 million, I mean, that is cheap. In today's market, today's value, that is a good price. If you can secure that, of course, it's just convincing the player. Newcastle seem to be keen on him. Newcastle seems to be keen on the player. If you can convince him to join our football club, that's a good signing there at a very good price. £22.5 million is certainly good value in today's market. Breaking news during the video while I'm recording, Keith Downey has now posted an exclusive report claiming that Kieran Trippier to Monaco is a potential possibility. He's claimed that Monaco wants to bring Kieran Trippier in. Of course, the same football team, by the way, who has Eric Dyer and Paul Pogba this summer. So they seem to be targeting Premier League players that were class a few years ago. Kieran Trippier, for me, can't sell him. No way you're selling him this summer. A player that still has 1 year left in his contract, so you do need to keep an eye on that. But after the season he's had, no way is he going anywhere. And he always seems to be a player that gets linked to quite big clubs as well on a season basis at this rate. And that says quite a lot about him. He's 34 years old now, and there's still a lot of clubs interested in him because of the quality he delivers. No way. There's not for sale at all. Put everything on it. Make sure he stays. Make sure he's happy, because he is not a player we can afford to lose this summer. His experience, his leadership in the dressing room is key to our success, and still a player that has it. 100% still has it. He needs to be here for the Champions League. Make sure this is not even a thing. And when you look at attacking options, the striker's the main part for Newcastle. Johan Wissa still is nailed on to be the first striker out of two. But as for the better striker, or the striker you are looking to grow into a player like Alexander Isak, still a lot of question marks over who that could be. Now, it has been reported by the French social media pages that Arnaud Calamundo is an option that is available. And when you look at his stats last season, 17 goals in 33 games in French football while being 23 years old. Again, when you look at his height, good similar build to the options we've been looking at. And certainly a player, while I wouldn't look at every single newspaper article out there or report about a player coming in, this certainly seems like a player that would be on Newcastle's radar. Seems to be a player that Eddie Howe would have on a transfer list, and certainly a player it can get at a good price. Again, seems to be an option that would be good for what Newcastle is trying to do, but the more the transfer window comes to a climax, there still seems to be a firm stance in Alexander Isak, especially for the Saudi Arabian ownership, and especially for our backing and being able to look good in the transfer market. It doesn't look like Newcastle's going to let Isak go at the minute. I would still say, especially in a saga like this, it can go either way. But 100%, when you look at Isak to Liverpool, Newcastle's still saying no. Has to be good money, or has to be after we sign two strikers. And it doesn't currently look like Newcastle will do either of those. Liverpool has been said throughout the transfer window, wait for encouragement from Newcastle before attempting to sign the player. I don't think they would get the encouragement. I don't think Newcastle would do that. Again, why would we give Liverpool encouragement? Why would we tell Liverpool to come and sign our striker? If anything, I reckon Newcastle would rather the guy go away from Liverpool just so we get him out of the Premier League and for us to look as good as we possibly can do during this transfer market. But Isak to Liverpool, especially with how this has been going with the player behind the scenes, I don't understand why Newcastle would let him go to Liverpool. I don't think we would, and I certainly don't think we would give them encouragement. And I've seen articles like this today from Ben Jacobs, and again, especially with likes of Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano this summer, ones that are going to be more in favour of Liverpool. What a load of rubbish this is. And the part I think is the worst is the part when he thinks, well, Liverpool has been respectful to Newcastle this summer. No, they have not. That is the biggest myth going in football at the minute. I've seen loads of journalists continue to say this. Liverpool have been respectful to Newcastle. Liverpool will wait for Newcastle to get their players in first. No, they will not. If Liverpool have been respectful to Newcastle all summer long, they will never ever place the bid in Isak. But that didn't happen. Where did that £110 million bid a week ago come from? Because that didn't come out of thin air. Liverpool placed that down on purpose because they knew it would put pressure on Newcastle. They knew it would get Isak to act up, and it would get the agent and Isak to gain some confidence to now continue this play against Newcastle to put further pressure on us. And they knew that they weren't getting them for that price. So that bid was intentionally done to stir Newcastle up. And I'm not buying this for 1 second from any journalist and any reporter out there that Liverpool has been respectful towards Newcastle. No, they have not. Liverpool has clearly attempted to force the player out of Newcastle. They know by just being there and by being a team that's lurking around in the background, they know Isak will continue to push for this move. And let's be honest, I'm not just saying this towards Liverpool, by the way. In our point of view, trying to buy a player, would Newcastle's ownership be respectful to our clubs? No, they will not. Every single football fan, every single football club out there wants to bring the player in. So why would they be respectful to your club? No team ever does that. That's not a thing in football. No team is respectful to a different team. Every single team will try buy a player for the best value possible, and every single team in football will attempt to bring a player in our best interest. None of us, let's be honest, none of us care about respecting your team, do we? We just want the player in, and that's the exact same for Liverpool fans watching this video. Stop with this rubbish that Liverpool is respecting Newcastle. No, they are not. That is not a thing in football. They want Isak. They will do everything to get Isak. They'll play all the tricks there is. They'll play all the mind games there is because they want to get Isak at the best deal possible. They do not respect Newcastle. I'm not buying this respect thing at all. And speaking of Liverpool, of course, Mark Gay is now available this summer to buy. 12 months left in his contract. Crystal Palace have opened up for the sale of the player. And I mentioned Liverpool because I think it's the most nailed on Liverpool transfer ever. Of course, we've just signed Chow, a different centre-half available. And while I would argue Newcastle does need 2 centre-halves, I just don't see a transfer window now where Mark Gay joins Newcastle. He clearly wants the Liverpool move. Liverpool is obviously going to go in for Mark Gay, especially after the game yesterday as well. They certainly need that centre-half in. Newcastle's just not going to win this battle. Mark Gay had that chance last summer, put a ridiculous amount of bids to bring him in. Palace clearly just took the mick out of us, and now it's a player that is going to leave, but Newcastle is not the one that's going to sign him. I stand by. If I had to put any money on it, it's Liverpool. I think this is a Liverpool sign written all over it. But walking away from this video, still is the question of what striker Newcastle will bring in, because there's a lot of question marks surrounding who that player will be alongside Yohan Wissa. Centre midfielder link certainly seems to be adding up quite a lot and certainly seems to be gaining a lot of traction. We seem to know the answer to that question. Striker's a different ball game. Outside of Wissa, I don't know who that option will be. We're linked to a lot of strikers now. I don't know which one it will be, but we will look for that option. And I'm still not fully convinced we'll sign 2 strikers. I think we have to. If you want my opinion, I think we have to. And I think we have to Isak get out this summer, but not to Liverpool. I still reckon it could go on your side as well, because you got to think about it. The more days it gets towards the end of the transfer window, you wake up tomorrow, you wake up over the next couple of days, and it's still the same with Isak, just no noise. He's going in, training by himself. Liverpool's still not approaching. They won't approach, in my opinion, until the last week of the window, because again, I don't think they desperately need Isak, so they're going to try at the end of the window where they've got a good chance of potentially getting them on a cheaper deal. They're going to try and test the player's look and see if the player's going to force himself out towards the end of the window. But again, we've got a public investment fund behind us. We've got Eddie Howe behind us. We've got people behind us that are just not going to take Isak's crap. They're going to sit there and they're going to shrug their shoulders and go, well, no. It's that simple. They're going to go, no, you're doing this. We're not going to allow it. And our ownership and our board and our football club is strong. They have a strong background and they're not going to mess around. They know the importance of this window. They know if we get done over and if we look weak at the Isak saga, our entire project will look poor. So they have to stay strong. And whether we keep Isak or lose Isak this summer, they're going to play hard. They're not going to allow Liverpool to do this. And I see the frustration from Liverpool fans on social media. We'll probably make a video going into more detail about that. But they don't like the fact Newcastle's sitting here and just being awkward. They don't like the fact that a football team has said no. And they don't like the fact that a football team has not bent over and gave Liverpool everything they want. Newcastle's actually stood there and said, well, if you want him, give us the money or do one, basically. That's the message Newcastle's gave Liverpool. They're not going to mess around. They're not going to be played with. And it's going to be a transfer window that's certainly going to go to the climax. I know you guys are sick of hearing about it, but I wish that was the reality. We could just forget about it. We could just not talk about him. But he's our problem to deal with. He will continue to be our problem to deal with until the window is closed. And if he stays, he'll even be a problem to deal with going through the entire season. So it's something that's not going to go away. I wish things were different. I wish we could talk about everything else. But we can't deny the truth. That is our problem. We have to deal with it and we have to continue talking about it. But Newcastle are going to look good. Newcastle will deal with it as well. And I'm looking forward to see what we can do next. But thank you guys for watching. Take care. Let me know your opinions down below. And we will see you all in the next one.